I'm already online. Okay, it's nice to see that there are so many people here. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yes, so I have three hats. I'm tech lead, I'm a university lecturer, and I'm a mom. And what these three have taught me in the last few years is that the way we work has drastically changed. And it's not because of the people, it's because of the system. So we work today in a system that was built for or in the 90s, but the workforce today has changed. So if you look here, we have today four different generations on the work market. So we have the boomers who grew up with little and learned how to collect wealth and be traditional. And then we have the Generation X. I belong to it. So we grew up without seatbelts in the car or with daddy smoking in the cars, and probably that's why we became anti-establishment, a bit cynical, but still independent. Then we have the millennials. They grew up with internet and they learn how to make progress, how to make change, and question many things. And still have coffee with oat milk. And then we have the new generation that's now coming on the job market, and that's the Generation Z. So the Generation Z didn't only grow up with internet, they were born with with the phone in their hands. So their life is completely online. They do everything there. So even they show their emotions in 15 seconds video and push it on internet and show it to everybody. So Gen X, Gen Z, I'm Gen X. So Gen Z is the generation which is now interesting because it's the one coming to the job market. And if we try to search for that a bit on the internet, we'll find either very self-confident videos from themselves or from frustrated managers, teachers, or parents about them. And this builds stereotypes. And so today, or in this next minutes, I don't want to talk about stereotypes, not for Gen Z and not for the other generations as well. I want to try to decode them. And why do I think that I can do that? It's because I have my three hats. And but before I come to me, I want to check whom do we have here in the room. So a lot of people, but how many of you or who of you considers yourself as a Gen Z? Okay, not many, but some. Okay, cool. I was expecting maybe one more, but um, and so I'm not asking about the other generations, so no worries, no age is asked, especially for the ladies. It's more the role. So who feels like a professional or a mentor of the Gen Zs here? Okay, okay, so you're the ones who work with them. Nice. And do we have any executives or leaders who are the ones who make the strategy and define the rules in the organizations? Okay, some as well. Okay, that's perfect. So that means we have all the three groups here in the room because I want to talk to all of you. So I want to talk to Gen Z because you need to understand your impact on tech and culture you have today. Also to all the professionals and mentors who work with Gen Z because you need to better collaborate with them and not resist. But also to the leaders because you need to rethink probably the culture and strategy in this whole new mix. So now back to me. As I said, I have my three hats. So I'm a tech lead. Currently I'm working as a freelance consultant, trainer, and coach. And before that, I was working over 20 years in IT. So I started many, many years as a developer, and then I moved into architecture and management, mostly in B2B client-facing context. So in this role, I had the possibility to see a lot of different organizations, how IT and tech is being used there, and also how decisions are made, how the communication and collaboration is working. Then I'm a teacher as well. So I teach at the University of Applied Science in Hamburg since over 10 years. And there I have possibility to observe and spend time with the future IT innovators and leaders, hopefully. And I see that they're very self-confident and they question many things. And that's totally inspiring just to observe them there. And then my third role, I'm a mom. So I'm a mom of a son who is 21 years old. He is at the university studying IT, just like me. And then I have a daughter, she's 18, and she's studying chemistry, a little bit of like her father. So yes, we split the genes a bit. But what is interesting through them, I can see how they have used tech since they were very small, and how they act with technology. And that's also something that many adults, when they were children, now they're adults themselves, but many adults can just astound and it's just interesting how they do that. So with these three different heads that I have, I can view always the three different perspectives of how this new generation is entering the job market and what it means for the future of leadership, communication, and collaboration. So on the next slide, so this is not exactly me because it's generated by Gemini. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any photo from that time. But let's rewind back in the 90s, so early, mid-90s. Probably many of you were not born then. But so that was the time when I was about 18, a young student in university, and I had the possibility to teach what we would call today the older employees, probably many of them boomers today. And they were, till then, working their whole life with pen and paper. So they just had folders. And then all of a sudden, they had the PC in front of them. And so what it meant, so Windows 3.1, who doesn't know about it? It was probably the first intuitive UI operating system. Just Google it. And then mouse, for somebody who sees that for the first time, just try to imagine. And a game of solitaire. So, so why I had to do this? So I had to teach these people to move from paper to computer, and it was funny because. For example, when I would tell them go up with the mouse, they were going like this, and and click somewhere. They were totally afraid that they will break the whole computer and system if they click on the mouse. So this was expecting from me, patience, but also to be innovative with ideas. And then we came to the solitaire games to use it to learn how to work with the mouse. So why am I telling you this story? So of course, this was the beginning of my teaching history. Here I noticed for the first time the generation gap and how education through generations is not that easy. And this trend we have today as well. So we're talking about Gen Z. It's also a different generation. I'm Gen X, and this generation gap has not gotten bigger and not smaller, but it is different. So what does it mean? So on this slide, you can see literally what it means born connected. So on this slide, you can see my son and his best friend. It's some years ago. They're 12 years old here. And what are they doing? They're both on their computers. They both have their earplugs in ear. So they're together. but they're connected, but they're online and they live in their world. And this is where the clash with generation comes, because a boomer or me, when we look at picture like that, we would say, how antisocial. They're not even talking to each other. When we were young, everything was cooler and better. And this is indeed the clash, but for these kids, this is normal. No? So this is their life. They live online, yeah, they expect that everything just works there. And so if we kind of compare the generation gap in the 90s and today, you can see what's different. I don't know if this has, so let's see here. So at that time we were learning or teaching tech, and today we just expect that everything in tech works. And we were following rules, and today the new generation is just questioning everything. And then the biggest change is how we see tech. So we were seeing, or I still see tech as a tool. And the new generation, for them, tech is identity. And this is probably the biggest conflict or clash we have between the generations today. So tech as identity versus tech as a tool, because that makes the big friction between the generation in leadership, communication, and collaboration. So that was the conflict. And now I want to talk about how the solution can work, can look like. So if we look where we come from, we already see that Gen Z is changing many things. So the shift has already started. So I want to talk about 4 different shifts, which I will try to picture them to you through 4 different stories. So let's start with the first behavioral change that comes through Gen Z. And that is that Gen Z doesn't wait for permission. So they don't care about processes, rules, gatekeeping, and whatever. They just do whatever they think it's more efficient and better. So probably some of you have been in the situation. So I told you in B2B client facing. So a client calls and says, we have an emergency and then we need to fix it as soon as possible. So nevertheless, how many great automation tools and logging analysis and whatever you have, you still need a tech person to dig into it. And I had a young architect, and he had to do it every now and then. Maybe he was lazy, maybe he just wanted to learn a little bit more on vibe coding. But he built up a tool. So a UI which supported and made this reproduction of the bug and connecting it to logs and code very easy. And this tool went viral because then all of a sudden, not only the tech people, but even business analysts or support team, they could use it. So they could use it to do things on their own, and not everything had to go to the tech teams. So what does this show? So this shows that so let's put it like this. So in the past, we would say, okay, log analysis is just for tech people. So that's kind of the control part. So we wanted to control that. And with this tool, so I said before, tech is not a tool. So tech is, in this case, the empowerment. So with this tool, there was an empowerment to all the other teams to change. So that means that by breaking the rules, there was innovation. And that's why the older generation, we are afraid of that, because we feel that we lose control when the rules and the gatekeepers and processes are not being followed. The Gen Z and the younger generation, they are innovating, they are empowering. And that's why the shift here is from control to empowerment. So that's the Gen Z mindset when they see the most efficient path. But the most, in order to do that, they need a motivation. And so yeah. So how we come? So what brings the innovation? And then this brings us to the second major shift. And the second major shift is that this generation is built up by passion. And that's why we say passion is the prerequisite. So the story here comes from my home. So I told you already, my son, he's studying IT, but he's also playing water polo and stuff like that. But what is totally interesting, and probably nobody would think when they see him, is that he's fully into world history. So he knows, in my opinion, history more than many professional historians. And all self-learned through YouTube videos and whatever else you can find on public internet. And he says himself, he has the passion for history. And today, in order to pursue this passion, he can do it everywhere, anytime, with any identity, and to any level he wants. And this is not only about history. I mean, this is just the story about this. But this is that this new generation, they are not anymore connected to credentials like diplomas and grades or a linear career path. They just need the idea, the motivation, the passion, and then it's possible everything. Because today knowledge is not anymore connected just to the best universities or not only people who get a publisher or a music label can move on. Everybody can do it with the technique we have today. So that's why. So this has a big impact also in the business world because we should try to see in a different way how we hire, how we coach, and how we promote the people. So it's not anymore based on credentials; it's based on passion. And now even when we say that the new generation is fueled by passion. And if it's fueled by passion, then the existing workplaces need to. In order the existing workplace to support this passion, must understand that that's different than the older generation that was motivated not by passion but by paycheck. And this is the next change or the next shift that we have to think about. So this new generation is grown up motivated by clicks and likes and progress bars and stuff like that. And if we look, it's very common if we look at the feedback culture in companies. So if you look at older employees, so they wait for the annual review. They hate the feedback they get because they see it as a criticism or as personality analysis, and they just want to know how much more money they will get. The Gen Z colleagues that I had, they want feedback all the time. After every meeting, after every task, they're just asking. And it's not only the feedback, so it's the whole transparency at all. They want to have full transparency of salaries, of processes, also of the next steps. So it's only Gen Z, somebody who will come after 6 months and ask, where's my promotion? And that's not because they're impatient. It's more because they want to know what are the next steps. So they want to know what will bring them progress. And that has impact in the organizations because currently this whole feedback culture or transparency, it's going very much top down from HR or management. And we need to shift this down to the teams themselves. And that's why the shift is called from hierarchy to real-time progress. So we've seen Gen Z demand real-time progress in the workplace, but what happens when their mindset and their passion for speed and clarity hits a process that's just simply not logical? And that is the ultimate battle between the rule versus the rational. So I will go home again and or to my daughter. So she's studying chemistry, and they have to do this standard chemistry lab practica. And what is a rule there is it's not allowed to bring any laptops, tablets, or mobile phones in there. And all the protocols that they do, they have to be handwritten on paper. And you can imagine, so 18, 19 years old. So of course they smuggle their phones in their lab coat. And they take photos of the reactions they're doing, and they dictate what they have been doing. They go out, put everything to some chemistry AIs. They're building that as well, and then they get the results and sit down and write it again per hand. And the question comes. We can synthesize molecules faster than we can write it down. Where is the efficiency here? And this is I mean I call them, they are rebels, but they're not rebels because they're big rebellions, because they cannot understand this inefficiency. So they want to remove roadblocks, bureaucracy, and stuff like that, because they need to move to progress, and we can't stop that. We can't stop that because everybody who is trying to get on the way to it, it's more, the way to extract. So I want to come back to the three different groups that we have here in the room. And so we have the Gen Zs. No? There were some, not too many. But I want to give you something on the way. So challenge with a prototype. So don't just complain about rules and processes that you don't like. Change it. Be the architect of your future. Innovate. And show the others the why. So why are you doing that? And let passion be your proof. So your curiosity is your credential, and use feedback as your fuel, and don't wait for permission. And then we have the professionals, the teachers, the mentors. So you're the translators. You need to be the bridge and not the barrier. So when you see a new idea, the challenge is an old process. Don't just say we always used to do it like that, or this is the way the process is. Be the one who says, what if it works? So be open to the new ideas, and trade authority for trust. So be the first to ask a junior person in the team for feedback. So make it transparent, because that's how you can bridge the gap. And as last, we have the leaders and executives. So you are the architects of the whole environment. So your job is to find and destroy the handwritten lab report or the manual back analysis. You must redesign the system to reward purposeful innovation. And build for speed. So the greatest cultural shift you can make is to replace slow, ambiguous hierarchy and bureaucracy. So when you think about it, none of us can do this on it alone. And the innovation and the progress doesn't start at the top and doesn't start in the bottom. So it starts in the middle. And it starts when curiosity meets experience, when bold ideas meet white hands, when young developers builds up something with a great idea, but then pairs with an experienced architect for long-term sustainability. And when we zoom out, this isn't a story of conflict. It is a story of reflection. So, at least for me, it's like that. Gen Z shows a mirror, and I think it's a mirror to all of us. And because they question what doesn't make sense, and they blur the lines between work and purpose. So, in doing so, they show what needs to be changed, and for us, we need to respond. So, no generation clash. Let's shape the future together. Thank you.